Okay, that's good. Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lucy Robbins Wells Library Board of Trustees meeting for Monday, November 13th, 2023. We'll move right into the roll call. Elizabeth?
George Bernato,
Present.
Andy Brecker, Anna Eddy,
Here.
Pauline Crook, Iris Larson,
Here.
Leanne Mackey,
Here.
Maureen O'Connor Lyons.
Here.
Thank you. Chris Riley,
Here.
Neil Ryan, Christine Shushin.
Here.
Diane Stam,
Here.
Fiona York,
Here.
Lisa Maston, Karen Benner,
Here.
Sheila Rowell,
Here.
and David Engel. Well done.
And you're showing that Paulina, right?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you. Any public participation online? Anybody out there? No? Okay. Then none in the room. Town Council Liaison, Dave Nagel called me earlier and said, we won't know officially who our representatives are until tomorrow. So he has tonight off because we assume he'll be ours, but we don't know. Usually we have a town liaison, one from the Democratic and one from the Republican Party, and we can switch off or both show up or what have you. But with the election happening just last week, we're a little bit in limbo. He did say that doesn't know for sure at this point what's going on with the library building committee as opposed to centralized town committee. He was trying to answer all the questions we asked him anyways when I was on the phone with him. So we don't have any more answers at this point in terms of building committees. I don't know if it's fully populated, staffed, and
Last I knew it had 3, I think there's a space for 5.
right. So I don't know anything more from that than what we knew last month. Secretary's report, Iris?
I had no report.
No report, thank you. I would ask for comment of the minutes, if anybody has any comments or corrections. Yes, Anna?
So I should have sent you an email on this, but I just looked at it now. So on page 6, under fund development, under bullet item II, please begin motion. That first sentence is out of context, and I think it would be more helpful if it was placed. That last paragraph that starts with Fiona York said the brochure is away. So Fiona, I think it should start off with Fiona developed a ways to give brochure. Anna noted that this started as it's actually Legacy Champion, but was renamed to Library Champion. So the reverse of what you have. And then on the 5th line of II. Lisa Masson found a company TechSoup that offers website domains and email services for nonprofits.
Okay.
And within that same, the very next paragraph, or the 2 lines above the motion, that first motion, Anna said that newingtonlibrary.org would be the domain name. After conversation or after discussion, it was agreed that it would be newingtonctlibrary.org. There was a lot of conversation going on that night.
It was fast and furious. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
I just had mostly just kind of questions, more than comments. I noticed on there was listing for when they were talking about like the budget and the stuff coming in. And I wasn't sure what art, and it looked like FAX in capital letters, what those commissions were. I'm trying to understand what that.
The commissions that you see on the treasury report? Is that what you're
Yes,
talking about?
yeah.
Okay, well, the library provides services to the public. They can use our fax transmissions if they pay a fee.
Oh, okay.
The art you see around the wall, if they sell any, we get a percentage.
Okay, that's what I figured. So.
That's the art commissions. So those are usually where the commissions fall.
Okay. Yeah, the thanks I wasn't sure about, because I saw it like all capital letters, so I thought, well, maybe it stood for something, or, so.
So that we used to get quite a bit. Now it's just very, very low trickle traffic.
I also noticed on there when I was looking at, it seemed like the unrestricted funds were going into Kingston non-investment. Is that how the unrestricted, I was trying to understand how the unrestricted versus restricted funds, it seemed like there was a transfer. I was trying to understand what Kingston non-investment.
If you wait, because we're still on secretaries, she can close that off, and then when we get to treasurer's report, I'll go there for you.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on the notes?
Yes, I just
Yes.
have one. Under the library director's report, the second paragraph from the end, Yvonne, it says Yvonne Austin. It should be Alston. Yvonne Austin. Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes as corrected.
Sorry.
Oh, it should
Go
be
ahead, George.
the minutes of last month's meeting. Whatever that date was,
16.
October 16th.
Overboard. Any further discussion?
October 16th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, approved the minutes as amended. Thank you very much. Review of the annual activities calendar. It is November. We had our staff appreciation already this year, and that's an every other year event, so that's normally something that we start talking about and planning now for the fall timeframe, so we're good with that for this year. I personally had a great time at the staff event, so that was nice. Welcome new town appointees and council members, they're not here yet. So I'll postpone that for a month as we go through. Hanel, we do have the Hanel concert coming up, and we'll talk about it again, but, one of the concerts for the Hanel series is coming up on December 2nd, Saturday. And I think Pauline, you and I had, quickly talked about, and we can talk about it again in Pat, but we just need to make sure that we're getting the director's review, pulled together from the comments that we had last time. Because it will be time soon enough to come out again. So that was it for November activities, committees and assignments. Questions or anything? Okay. So now we'll move into the treasurer's report with Leanne Mankey and see if there are any questions. All right.
Going over it, you will see there's some changes in the balances. I did move, the request that we got from Maureen Oliver. It was reported last, month in the checking account. I needed to get that cleared before we could move it over because of the timing.
Can you expand on that? I wasn't even aware.
Maureen Oliver left us a request in her will. And, it was basically a lump sum. It wasn't like, we've had some where it's paid out over the course of the time, but this probate went very quickly. So it's in the course of one payment, and it was, hold on, let me get you the right amount. $29,067.21. And, she specifically wanted it for whatever purpose we wished. It was not restricted. So that came in and it was deposited to the checking account, and then we, this month, we put it into the, in Kingston. And because it is in the unrestricted amount, so there's a substantial difference in the balances from the beginning of the month to the last because of the transfer of those funds. We have been, I shouldn't say me, I just make the entries into the accounts and put it where it is. But the library staff, and we intend to have a meeting on the restricted funds. We have several funds that had amounts that were just kind of sitting dormant because no one knew what they were for. Well, we've done some research and what have you. And now Dorothy and Bailey and Karen are working very actively to make sure we're utilizing them for what their intents were, like Polino Book Fund, the Macri book account, which is for cookbooks and women's sleuths, mysteries. Then we had one account that The Davis account now is starting to be utilized. The large print is starting to be utilized. So those are the kind of things you're gonna see. Those are restricted funds that were put in for specific purchases. So we're trying to use those. The general memorial, where somebody gives it in memory of so-and-so, it's still restricted, but they're able to have a little bit more discretion. That's where things like the lawn games and that type of thing came out of. So, you'll see more funds coming out from there. We did have, it's not in this report, but we received this month, the Sleeper family has made another contribution to keep that fund going for the children's programs that happen. So, and the guest fund, the March guest, was one where, I was unsure when it was received. I knew it was a memorial and it was set up as its own fund, but I didn't know what its specific purpose was. And because we weren't all kind of getting together on the same page, COVID did that to us. We weren't sure, but it is children's department based. So it gives a little more funding for that area. So just if you see that coming through too, now that, Bailey and Company have a little bit more usage for that. Let's see. We did have the large expenditure we paid out for the staff appreciation event, and I thought that was really good. I love to put it up, so. So our final balance on our checking account was at $47,715.87. The TD money market has the restricted funds that are there, accessible for programming and other things that we do within the restricted that I can utilize to pay out. And I reimburse the check because the money market is not a checking account. So plus some of the bills that we get, particularly, and I know I'm expounding more than I usually just for our newer members. When I pay the bills, say for Baker and Taylor, which is a publishing house that we order a lot of things from, some are restricted, some are unrestricted, they're all in one invoicing. So I have to designate that. The money market et al. Kingston non-investment we called. That name is not really accurate. It started out as basically more of a cash account within the investment portfolio that we have. And that's where our non-restricted funds were, our general funds. Over the course of the last few years, we've been tweaking it. That's where it has more than just cash accounts. It has more than, but it's heavier in the CDs and that type of thing. So that's where the more liquid assets are in terms of what's at Kingston. The Kingston profile itself is reflected in the second page, and I may have missed it. I did not know if Neil generated a report. Both our reports are based on the Kingston statements that count. So if you go to the second part, or the last part of the report, you'll see we have restricted and unrestricted, and currently there is $711,787.64 in the investment fund, and it's broken down restricted and unrestricted. And then the money market et al. Is unrestricted funding. The the money market at TD is restricted funding, and the checking is listed as unrestricted. And at the end of the month, I make sure that everything is evened out so that everything is containing its own, the restricted and unrestricted accounts accordingly. I did make an error back in May where I credited an unrestricted deposit to restricted, so there was a correction to the September dollar amounts. You could see where the actual balances for restricted and unrestricted. So I was doing a self-audit before I turned the books over to the account for the report. So, but that's all taken care of now. I'm trying to think here. We did receive a very generous general donation, not a bequest, just a general donation that will be reflected in November of $5,000 from a regular patron. Again, not unrestricted, and those are great because that leaves us open to take care of. No one wants to take care of operating expenses, but we do have those. But also it gives us a little more leeway in what we can spend. Like for example, when we did the furniture and the.
You get a donation like that, what do you decide to put it?
It's when we get a donation like that, we ask the person who donated if they have qualifications on it. For example, you'll see the Polino Fund. Dr. Polino years ago established a fund when he was still with us called the Book Fund. It was restricted, it was for certain usages, and we passed he left a bequest that continued to fund that. But it was specifically for book purchases within the collection. And it's like you see the Macri Fund. They gave a certain amount of money, but they wished it to be used for the purchase of cookbooks in the collection and women's sleuth mysteries. So Karen and Dorothy are the ones who are tracking those type of things so that they can be utilized. But a lot of people understand the need that if you give it, it makes our lives a lot easier. Like, for example, when we had the furniture, that was a big ticket item to reupholster all those chairs. But people don't give usually money for that kind of thing. So, but we can use those unrestricted funds.
So, can I add, there's a story to that $5,000 donation. Hope Lucy doesn't mind that I shared. So literally, this little old woman comes in with her aide on a regular basis to get books. And recently she came in with some books that had been water damaged, and her aide said, you know, she didn't do it on purpose and she's really upset about it. And Lisa said, Kate, she came out and met the woman, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. And the following week, or whatever, the woman turned around and came in with the check. So, you know, it was probably $40 worth of books. So she was very generous. I wanted to ask, do you know what our connection is with that Maureen Oliver? Do we know? With that $29,000?
I personally don't, I have the documents, the probate documents there, but it doesn't indicate, it's just that we are one of several. But it looks like she was a supporter of our community, various things.
Was she a Newington resident?
I believe so. Right now, I have I have Patty Coleman in my brain right here, because we've been notified that part of her, she's got 22 listed, but we are a piece of that.
Okay.
So,
Curious.
some people remember us and they remember us through AIM. It's a surprise when it walks in the door.
And that's the whole thing with legacy. I mean, you know, I've been part of fund development for probably a dozen years now. And, you know, we're out there and we're touting it and we mention it. But people don't come to us and say, oh, by the way, I just did my will and we're doing our will. We don't know until we invite them to let us know, but nobody really does. And there's really no way for us to track if the work that we're doing is gaining, you know, giving us results. But I would think that it is, because we seem to have more of late than we used to.
And just in, you know, you have those people who just come in on a regular basis and once a year, twice a year, a few times a year, or whether it's automatic contribution, they're just making a contribution in general. Or if they come to a program, sometimes those same names I'll see. If it's a certain kind of program, then I'll see a check. They just want to kind of say thank you for attending those programs.
Well, Leanne, I did not know that piece. So just so that everybody knows, one of the things that Lisa and I do with people who are the 5K race sponsors and the people who are donors, as long as there's some family, either the individual or family member is still alive. When the friends send out their footnotes, I do a cover letter that gets Diane's signature on it. And, you know, it's just a little synopsis of footnotes, or if like this last one is like, come to the Hanel event on December 2nd. It's just a way of connecting. Because when I was the sponsor coordinator, I felt awkward just showing up on their doorstep once a year asking for money. So by sending out the footnotes 5 times a year and having the sponsors on it, we were staying connected with them over time. And, it's so we're not a forgotten entity, and they know that, we remember them and they see in the footnotes that they're recognized in on the back cover often. And, we just keep them engaged and that's a key thing. And so these people who are sending you checks like that, we should probably add them to that list. I mean, we cross-reference it with the Friends mailing list, but if they're sending us, if they're that interested, maybe at some point down the road, they might be a bigger donor.
Well, the one that comes right to mind is, there's a Dharma Drum.
Right,
I mean, there's a
They
adult
donate.
program and they leave a check.
every other month or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we should include her on mailing.
I think it's an or DHARM,
Oh, yeah.
it's drum, and the name on the check is, oh gosh. I
I'm
have it
gonna
in
be
my
really
records.
impressed if you remember.
Yes.
It's like HSIUNG, something like that, but,
So you guys can.
yeah, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
we
Pass
need-
the information back.
it seems to be where, there's a following of people who will come to, but particularly with legacy, you don't know, unfortunately, sometimes till the person passes, because they've arranged it all with their lawyer and everything else, but we don't know.
But those key people, if you could just start sending me those contacts, I can make sure they get
I
added.
can do that.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the treasurer's report?
No, I talked a lot, I'm sorry.
No, sorry, they help me understand a little bit more.
It helps to have explanations many times. And as far as the investment report, Neil said he'd get his report to us in the mail in a couple of days, so it's always nice that we've got information there as well.
Well, we did lose last month, but not as badly as some, I guess, so hopefully the market's back up again this month.
So library director's report, Karen, will you speak for Lisa or do a combined report?
Combined report.
Okay, combined director and assistant director, Karen.
So the school visit started, with students from Anna Reynolds Elementary School. The Friday morning visits with the local preschools and daycares have also started, so children's are very busy. It's great to see these groups coming in, it's really nice. Library is now open on Sundays, which you probably all know. We just had our first Sunday opening, that went smoothly. The hours are 1 to 4, and we will be open on Sundays through probably mid-May. The library is also going to have a table at the Senior Expo. So the Senior and Disabled Center is once again holding their expo. It's going to be held on November 16th. And we have some staff going over to promote library services. If you've ever been to it, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot going on over there, and it's a good opportunity. We've got a lot of the community going through. Yes, the 16th. We've been talking a little bit about the study rooms that are in repair or in the process of being repaired. So all 3 of them continue to be closed right now. The paint was bubbling due to high humidity. What facilities had initially thought was that there was paint over wallpaper, but just recently discovered that it was not wallpaper. So they've had to really kind of go down to the bare bones. I think there was some sheetrocking involved, and it might be a little bit longer than we initially expected. So right now, I think we're looking at November 30th. Jen and her staff have been very creative about trying to find space for people if they, are looking to study. I don't think we haven't had too many complaints. I think we really got the word out there that this was going to be happening and why it was going to be happening. So people have been pretty good about it. So we are continuing to work with Yvonne Alston. She's our diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. We're going to be working with her through into next year, I think into the spring of next year. So we had another session this past week. And it's been really a learning experience and informative. I think staff are really, I'm getting a lot out of it, so that's going to continue. Human Services is going to be handing out turkeys and food to designated residents. That is also happening on Thursday, November 16th. So if you have any plans to be here on that date, parking is gonna be a little bit challenging, given the senior expo and that the turkeys being handed out going on. There's a thank you to Chris Riley for his information about a grant that his company offered. The library did apply for the grant. The grant fosters STEM education. Chris, if you have anything else you want to say about it?
No, just that, I started a new job at Triumph and they seem to be very big in the community. I just happened to come across this application for a grant, so I figured I'd pass some information along. Maybe, you know, with the library and everything, looked at the criteria and it seemed like it would be a good fit, so.
Yeah, that's great. So,
All about grants. Yeah. Well, the team scrambled because it was due by October 3rd.
Yeah, well, that was my concern when I saw that, I got the email and then it was like, I saw the date it was due, I'm like, it's within like a week or so, so I'm like.
But I mean, perfect. You researched it, you saw it, you brought it to our attention. I, of course, flipped it right away to the staff. And they did a great job of, you know, just looking at what we might already have planned or in progress that can go through. And I don't think the decisions are made until February.
Yeah, I think it's later.
Yeah, I think it's February, the decisions are made. So we won't know for a while if, we qualified for the grant or got any grant money.
And from what I see, it looks like this seems to be an annual thing with my company, so it looks like the grants come up every year for the various companies.
Yeah, try for every year.
Well, and it's a big thing with them is
See the dollar amount there, because they didn't go any further into that part, but. Okay.
Was there a specific, something that we were looking for to fund?
yeah, so there's some programming and stuff that, we put together, and I think what we had requested was something close to $5,700, like that, if that was the final number. So again, something like that, it's $5,000 that for a grant that comes somewhere else, which means, you know, now between maybe the person that walked in and gave that unknown, you know, unrestricted donation and this grant money to go towards STEM, and the money that was gonna go towards STEM might be able to go pay for the hotspots or might be able to pay for something else. So that's why we really like things that are unrestricted, because we can make the magic work with whatever it is that comes up that, that we need to do. So, always grants. I mean, that was just excellent, and kudos to the staff, because literally they turned it around in like 4 days.
Yeah, that was my only concern in turning it over. I said, okay,
Yeah.
it sounds like something we could do, but then I was like, the deadline's all soon, so.
it was a 3-person effort. Lisa, and she actually had the new teen librarian involved with the process, and Bailey Francis. So it was nice. It was a nice opportunity for Sarah Weirden to kind of get involved. So, yeah, so it was great. We mentioned the $5,000 donation. Staff began their professional development online training through a new database purchased. I think we had mentioned it at one point it's actually called Niche, but Jen and I really would like it to be niche, so that's Niche Academy. It is just an amazing, it has so many training components, you know, from technology to management to library resources. There is a staff side and also a public side, and we have been working with the staff side. So this has been a challenge for us to provide ongoing training to staff that is not going to be really, really time consuming. You know, a few years back, we would be preparing things ourselves, and it took a lot of time. So this is, it's great. We're pretty excited about it. So
I know that was kind of one of my questions when I was reading through the reports and everything, was what types of training. I'm not as familiar with what types of training that we with libraries.
So yeah, we just started with this, and it's actually a database that Jen found when she was looking at reference resources, and then we discovered that there was a staff component to it. And we just started looking at it, and I mean, it's pretty much has anything that you could manage, I mean, or imagine.
So what are the types of courses that staff take?
There are management courses from A to Z, supervisory courses, any type of technology course, social media courses. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, library resources, things on all the different databases. Training on streaming services, all the streaming services that the library has. Training on our actually ILS, our library system, Sierra. I don't know, the list goes on and on.
And it's geared towards libraries in general?
It's geared towards libraries.
Are there any, again, this is based on ignorance, are there any components that are geared toward maybe say trustees? Like I know myself, like when we were trying to apply,
There might be.
because when we were trying to go for the grants, I've gone to the webinars and things like that, but a lot of it, it's like you jump in for an hour and it's like you walk out. Where if I could do a training on something and you get a little bit more conversant, so. I'm just wondering if there's something with component with that, it might be worth our while for some of us to invest our time
It's a
there.
good question, yeah.
library boards.
Yeah, I wanna say they have so much, I'm guessing there may be something, but I can't recall it, do you recall?
We haven't searched that term
Yeah,
yet.
it's so,
I'm not doing it next week, so.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, because, I do know that sometimes, particularly as a volunteer board, it's like we get thrown into the deep end. And, you might be very conversant in one thing, and then all of a sudden, something new comes up. It's like when we were trying to do that grant, every time we turned around, there seemed to be another red flag that maybe if we had a little more training, we would have been better prepared.
yep, I will definitely check into that, Leanne. And then, in personnel news, I think you knew that we had 3 new library substitutes start. Two of them have completed their training process. One is now training on the reference desk. And we just hired 2 new pages. So they're gonna begin training soon. And the last thing I would just like to end with, Lisa wanted me to ask if the board would be interested and willing to make a monetary donation to the Winter Fest. And that's it for me. Oh, also feedback from the staff appreciation was wonderful. People really enjoyed it. They thought the food was fantastic. It was a nice opportunity to be able to visit with each other and with board members. It was somebody said it was kind of cozy and intimate, so thank you very much.
And for the new board members, the history of the board in the library has been that every other year, the board, does a staff appreciation event. And it's taken different forms over the different years. Sometimes it's been a tour of the Hillstead Museum or, the Florence Griswold Museum as we went down and stuff. And it ended up over the last couple of years, the staff said, you know, it's interesting to see all that stuff, but what we would really like is a chance to get to know each other and even a chance just to visit with those that we know. So from that point, we had started to do just kind of like dinner with, you know, tables of 6 or 8 people, and, you know, you could get together and talk, and you could visit a little bit before and afterwards. And those, believe it or not, get the biggest attendance usually and the best support, because it is what folks want to do. They want to talk not only to each other, but to the board and get to know folks back and forth. I also enjoy it. So I think our biggest challenge when it comes to that is encouraging the pages and some of the, you know, the very new, very young board staff folks to attend, because they're like, I don't want to go sit at dinner with the board member, right? But they only have to come once and then they keep coming back. So that's a good thing.
And we treat.
Right, so the board pays for staff and the board pays for themselves, usually. Some kind of a,
The individuals attending.
right, the individuals attending.
So we're not
themselves.
using
And
our
it's
funds for us.
for us, right? So it's all.
Where was the dinner this time?
Wooden tap,
Oh.
so we were in a, you know, they can close off the back rooms.
Oh, yeah,
So it was really nice, very nice.
great.
Get to know.
What's nice is that not only did we enjoy it, but the staff really enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing, right? It's, if you're gonna do something for someone for appreciation of what they've done, it's really nice if they enjoy it instead of going, sucks.
And the board gets to know the staff and vice versa, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, so don't be grumpy when you come in after you go to one of those
No,
dinners.
don't be grumpy.
Oh, no, we are. That goes there. Thank you for that feedback, it's nice to hear that. Any questions for Karen?
I have a question about grants, but not the one we were discussing from your place. I am on the Newington advisory for the, Hartford Foundation,
Yes,
and a grant application that comes through and they had some questions.
yes.
So when I went to the advisory committee meeting, I heard that they were asking for more information. I wondered if there were things that you need or help with.
We sent them the additional information.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure because we had a person from the Greater Hartford say, well, it sounds like they need, meaning our books, our budget too. And I said, oh. But I never been asked for that, so I want to make sure you didn't need that. Okay.
I think we're good, thank you.
Anything else? Yeah, okay. Next up is Friends of the Library, Sheila.
Hi, we had our book sale. I don't know how many
Roaring
was
success.
that? But we did really well. We made just shy of 15,000,
Much?
just. I can give you the exact, it's 12,000. Wow.
Oh, you just, I didn't hear you say 13.
That's great. It was a lot of fun this time. We had wonderful volunteers. The high school kids were wonderful. Even the dealers weren't bad this time around.
The college kids were wonderful
The
too.
college kids were wonderful.
They had a group of college kids who wanted to volunteer.
We had, lots of volunteers and they were very helpful. They, just jumped right in and,
Did you have a lot at the end to get rid of?
yeah, more than we would like to, but, it was, the usual probably, percentage, that we went to the, Discover Books. So at least you get one more shot at them being sold and given to somebody, so.
Did you hold much back?
There's a lot of the stuff for, downstairs, for the friends, and for the children's. And we held back, and we had, 4 or 5 teachers come in, that we, at the end of the thing, the last hour, they can take anything for free. And we actually had a.
With their school ID,
Yeah,
the teaching.
and we had a pediatrician who's starting a new office, who asked if she could come in and get some, and we let her come in, and take some of them, because she's setting up a waiting room for her kids, So, again, we want to get them out there instead of, sending them to Rhode Island. And we're starting to work on the Winterfest, the first meeting, got things going, looking at baskets, looking at placement and stuff. So, super, January 19th, and they're on, tickets are on sale.
Yes, so-
We might have a unofficial guest. I was talking to Marion, and some folks from Meriden are interested in stealing some of your ideas, so you might have some undercover agents showing up at your Winterfest to see. They've heard that it's well run and wanted to take a look at what it is, so we won't tell them just how much work you all put into it.
Are we limiting the numbers again like last year?
We increased it, by another 50.
So what's the total head count?
250?
Oh, great.
It did, one.
Everybody said last year it was nice because there was more room to move, move
I think there
around.
were a few less baskets and with the people and stuff, because the year before COVID, or 2017, I mean, we didn't have the parking lot out here, they were parking on, kind of like on the grass, and it was, I felt like it was a, Macy's Day, every third person gets everything free, so everybody showed up kind of crowd, but that's good. So now might be a good time to ask the board, if we wanted to donate a certain amount of money for Winterfest.
And we've done that in the past.
We have, typically, we've done, $100 for the table baskets.
I'll make a motion that we allocate $100 to, support the Friends of the Library Winterfest 2024.
I'll second. Thank you, Fiona.
Wonderful.
It's fine.
It could be, RFID, right? Yeah, it's on this.
Yes, I'm not sure why.
Okay. So, we have a motion, made and seconded to donate $100 towards a gift basket to support the Friends in Winterfest. Any questions? No thoughts?
Just a reminder that, in addition to whatever the board authorizes monetarily, we have a couple of books that were made during COVID for reuse baskets.
A couple of what?
Quilts.
Quilts.
That's what I did when masks and quilts was trapped. But you were, you were, your board wanted to do them one at a time, so if you're interested in doing something that, but they were intended for your use. One is a patriotic theme and the other one is a fall theme.
And where are those quotes?
They're in my house.
Okay. So there you go, Sheila, write that down.
So if you want, you gotta let me know so I can find them wherever I put them.
We were hoping, actually, we were looking for a space to put stuff too, because we were hoping to use the rooms, the study rooms, and apparently that's not going to happen. So,
After November 30th.
well, yeah, that might be a little tight too, but we'll find a place.
Space, tight space in the library, who would have thought? Okay, so, did I finish that vote? Okay, so, there's a motion on the table to donate $100 to support the Friends Winterfest. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
I will get the check into the office.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Sheila, thank you. Again, I heard great things about, the book sale. I didn't get to it, this year. I usually love to go for the bag of books day, so I don't have to think, I just scoop in. But, I did hear that, the Friends do a wonderful job organizing, and the people that are there, both the workers / volunteers and the patrons are very nice. So I thought that was a nice comment on the Friends and Newington as a whole. So that's good.
Although I think the last time I went for a bag of books, I was told I can't do that anymore. I brought home too many.
I was gonna say, yeah, that had to be a family member, not a friend. That family member was friend.
I was the right size. It was just like,
It's just
good
like-
for you.
Have to bring a little sandwich.
I like that because it doesn't matter if I'm picking up books for other people, it doesn't matter if they've read it or not, I'm like. You know, if you don't know that if you don't realize you've read it until you're 3 chapters in, keep reading. You know, and on the other hand, it wasn't like sorry. It's done well. Thank you, Sheila. We'll move into committee reports. Budget, do we have anything for budget?
Not yet.
Any deadlines or anything? Because I know December, is that capital expenses?
Yes.
December?
Yeah,
And we don't have dates or anything?
No, it just usually comes in and they need it tomorrow.
exactly.
Okay, so no report for budget. Planning or PEP, planning, evaluation and policy.
I didn't do my project the month of the elections to
You didn't, what were you doing?
Count votes.
but I have for you Wednesday, the whole thing, we've been working on it all day. The other thing is that, I'm gonna have a PEP meeting, we had, Fiona had sent something over regarding, displays in the library to do a policy and procedure. It seemed that there was we used the word ruckus in Suffield with regards to the newspaper, so just to be proactive and try to make sure we got
Something in place before.
if so people who are on PEP and that's the newbies, I will send out a note with dates and the most people that can have a particular date. And then make sure the
The
library-
newbies and the not so newbies.
Yeah. It's been interesting. But the things that are showing up is what people are complaining about, that never used to complain. So
Everything's cyclical.
I did recently see another news report about a group that went in to try to get some folks, I think, banned up from a library. They went to the police station, I thought, and had brought it to as, oh, it violates, paragraph of law. I think it was like in Florida, if I remember right.
Oh my
I'm
God.
reading about it.
We have a policy for that.
As a matter of fact, we finished updating it and voting it in just recently. So-
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that is, you want to have something in place. One, it's nice that we've thought of it and figured out a good way to deal with it, a fair way to deal with it, as that goes through instead of having to hunt.
Yeah, when I was reading the article, because it reminded me of when we were talking about that policy, because how we have it always every Newington resident, like a battery car and a vote, it's all I was reading an article, it's like. They came out, they asked them about the vote, they didn't really have details about it, it seemed like very fishy of how the student checked it out, the teacher was told, but it was the group that told the kid to check it out of the library. To get it, so.
But the article about the librarians, but
Well, no, that was the one in I think that was one in Suffield, but there was another, this was one where I saw the video, they went to right to the police station. And we're trying to file a report
So
on.
the Suffield one was the director who resigned because,
Yeah.
I think town council was trying to select folks or tell them what type of job. they said.
Yeah.
because I read one about a librarian in Florida, and it was a school librarian, who just, couldn't take the pressure from what's going on in Florida.
Well, that's one of the reasons too. We set policy here in our board, but a lot of it is to aid, so that the poor staffer on the desk doesn't get blindsided and has something interesting. I have something for you about that. Here's the paper, and then it takes the heat off of them rather than being, kind of, what do I do with this? But unfortunately, like in the case of that policy you're trying to do now is you're trying to guess what's gonna come down the pike, what's gonna bother somebody in a month.
I think if you stay with what the purpose of the library is and how to be even handed with things, that's the best that you can do up front until things happen. But it helps to have it in writing.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or items for Pat? Thank you, Pauline. Investment committee, Neil is out. He said that he would email the latest reports. He's just not feeling well. So we see if he emailed them. So check your emails and then we'll go over them again. I think Leanne gave us the highlights. Last month wasn't a good month for the stocks, but overall. Right? Everybody that has stocks overall. So we like it to go like this, but it has not. It's been more.
It's challenging.
Yes, it is very challenging. Okay. House committee. So, Saturday, I was gonna say yesterday, Saturday, House committee had the walkthrough, from the library. I can tell you that staff has done a wonderful job. I love our new cleaning people because they really, do things very, very well. Sadly, the addition, our new part of the library is coming up close to 40 years old. So when you see some corners and wallpapers and laminate that we glued down and taped down, what have you, you begin to see some of that. But one of the other things that I picked up on is now that we have a children's librarian and a teen librarian, and we're not trying to really take one person and try to spread them all the way across. As you go into those rooms and those areas, you can see that more attention has been paid in that area. You can see more of what's going on and what's happening there. So that's not necessarily a house committee thing, but it's just so rewarding to see that as our staff gets more fully staffed, it really does make a difference as we go out there. We did, recently reupholster some things. We are going to be working on those curtains at some point as we go through. Overall, I'd say the library is in very good shape, and a lot of that is thanks to the staff and thanks to the new cleaning folks that we have. We have a gentleman by the name of Dave Brown, who gets a lot of the items on our checklist. For those that showed up
on Saturday for the walkthrough, they got a list that was, accurate almost up until that point, and, it wasn't for payroll. Somehow I lose out to payroll every time this happens, but, Carolyn McLean will update our list based on our walkthrough, and I'll share that with everyone. For the newer board members, some things, the town does for us, some things Dave Brown, our fixer-upper extraordinaire is best man to say that he's a handyman. He does so many things here, but, you know, when we go around and we might look here and say, you know, these things need touch up. That's the kind of thing that goes on his list, if you can, you know, go ahead and do it, if we're not wholesale repainting something, if we're not repairing the bubbled wallpaper or the bubble paint in the student rooms and stuff like that. But I would say, overall, the library looked very good. It's nice that we went through the Friends area just after a book sale, because we actually went through the Friends area instead of just opening the doors. But again, you can see just how crowded it is. You can see how we have 4 and 5 and 6 people trying to work in a crowded, short area. There are times that, you know, some are in the office and some are, I'll say, in the public space. There are also times where someone who's normally in that office has to pick up their stuff and try to find another home to work on projects because they're not in the office, but you have to do your, you know, your other job, your prep work somewhere. So, we just don't have that much space. So the good news is we look good. The bad news is we look so good. I don't think everybody, when they walk in, realize how much we hurt for space and what goes on from there. Our outside is looking, very good. I think we get a little bit more care, again, than we have in the past. I don't know if that's weather related. I don't know, you know, what happens when that goes through. Some of the bushes that had died have been, replanted. I know we're getting another tree out here, so we're trying to keep up on it. I did speak with Clay from Parks and Grounds, this morning on another issue, the one that I sent an email out on, and, just reminded him that we need to scale back those arborvitaes. The arborvitaes that are along, you know, our eastern property line. So, for those arborvitaes, as you know, if you have them, they make a very nice border, but they need to be trimmed on a regular basis. It's not something like a traditional hedge where you can let it go for 3 or 4 years, cut it way back and say, I'll see sticks for a year and then it'll fill in. And it doesn't happen that way with arborvitaes. So we had a quick thing like that, but the way that happens, any service that the town would provide to the library or the library grounds is controlled with work orders put in through the town. And Carolyn McLean, our business manager, is the one that fills those out, and you know, we kind of track it. So overall, I think we're looking very good. I don't know anybody else that was on the walkthrough, if they had comments about how the property looked or anything like that. Anything you were overly concerned with?
Everything looked great. I just, you know, I've seen other libraries in different times, and it just looked great.
The only thing I wanted to add is because I've been remiss about the curtains, but it turned out, it worked out in our favor because I've gone through the bolts of fabric that are left from the upholstery of the chairs. And we had earmarked $2,000 for the cost of the window treatment. These will probably have to get new fabric, but from my evaluation of the bolts that are left, I can do something with the bolts there for the remaining windows so that they are complementary with the chairs. Hopefully we can have some savings there. My house is in disrepair, so it's not gonna happen until after the first of the year, so if you wish that before that, you'll have to find someone else to do it. But,
You'll notice.
but in the meantime, I did want to let you know that these are the fabrics that are on the chairs, and we have enough that we can do window treatment so that the whole old portion of the building will tie together nicely with the fabrics that are on the chairs. Right. Lisa is storing that in her storage office.
Yeah, I think we have to start calling it storage
Yeah,
slash
right.
Lisa's office instead of Lisa's office slash storage, because it's getting out of hand. So I think it was successful, and I thank everybody for their time, especially staff. Carolyn and Lisa were here Saturday walking through, taking the notes, and going through all of that, so again, thank you. Facility and site, Maureen?
Yes,
Sorry, did they-
can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
The lookbook has been put on hold, more than once. We've requested some updated drawings from the architect, specifically, if you can visualize that pink area where they had like boxy furniture. We've asked them to rework that to make it more appealing. But in the meantime, it's probably the delay has worked out well for us because there's a whole new council mostly now with the turn of the recent election. So we'll be presenting to a new group of people. So we'll have to go through the explanation for most of them, I imagine, about the how our library is unique because the board owns, we're private property and the board owns the building. So we'll have to do that explanation, but now we have a different focus with the lookbook. And we've met once and we will meet again. I was delayed because I just had plain old cataract surgery that was successful in one eye, but the other eye isn't done. So I still can't see because I'm cockeyed, so I can't read. It's just awful. And I'm not having my second eye done until the 21st. So after that, I should be good to go. I was going to ask the facility and site members tonight to pull out their calendars so we could schedule a meeting, but I will send an email because Neil and Andy are absent and they're two key members. So certainly I want their input. So I will send an email.
So I think what would be nice for a facility meeting is not only to have our committee there, but at some point, it would be nice to invite to one of our committee meetings, the advisory board of the Friends, to kind of refresh them, get them up to date and figure out what's happening, just so they can see and know, as well as going out to town council and that, and.
Right.
For
And
folks
I
that-
agree with that, Diane, but I think we need just the facility and site meeting
Absolutely.
independent. And of course, anybody on the board is welcome to come, so they'll be included on the email, but it's primarily directed towards the committee folks. And I'm
And I would
I'm
encourage
hoping-
others to go, especially you folks, whether you're on there or not, at least attend one meeting.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, Lauren.
and I think we should collaborate. I'm hoping that the new council will be receptive to our plans for expansion.
Are we
So
gonna
we'll see.
invite them, Maureen?
It's an exciting new time. Pardon me?
Well, typically when we get a new council, we invite them to come over and basically walk the place.
Yeah, so they are always invited over. Lisa usually does the tours. But another thought that I had is that as this picks up speed again, and as we go through and do more things, I think we need to get the word out and do the back office for more folks, even for maybe Board of Ed, for customers, patrons, clients, who may want to see, so what's all this talk, what's going on? And to that end, I don't think it's fair to leave the brunt of that on, the Lisa and Karen's and staff of the world. So I was thinking that it would be neat if we could come up with sort of a docent system. But we would need input, because as soon as they say, so how many people work here on a given, day, and what's the thing, what's this, what's that? But if we had, 3x5 cards, so that when I walked into the children's office, or when I walked into the other office up behind reference desk, behind the spinning wheel there and stuff like that, they could say, well, how many people really work here? What goes on? I mean, if you're standing there at 9 o'clock in the morning, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of folks there, but that's just the thought, and knowing that you've just done some tours, so you've had some good questions from folks and what have you, if we could get that kind of thing going, I think that would be helpful. Anna, your hand is up?
It is. I'm just wondering if we would consider doing the Anna Reynolds, the Board of Ed's approach for the improvements over at Anna Reynolds, where they invited the town council over, they did a PowerPoint, followed by a walkthrough together, to actually show what they were talking about. That focused more on negatives. I think we want to focus more on the positives, what the, what our reimagined library will be, but they also need to see what the working conditions are here. And, and maybe if we do that approach with the board, with the town council and the Board of Ed, and any other groups, maybe, I don't know, will we still need a lookbook?
Well, the
Well,
lookbook
this
is
is-
also sense that you're gonna be able to put that up to the public who aren't gonna walk in and take the tour. But you do have to get some of those prime movers and shakers to come in the door. And while I agree with you, we should stress positive, having done a few school renovation committees myself, there's nothing better than having a parent come in and see where there's standing water, where their kids' art room is. They flip out, and then all of a sudden, and they'll tell 12 people or 200 people. And the same kind of thing here, if you go down and see where we're sending our friends.
Well, it's not only the press, I mean, people are like, well, what's the big deal? I don't get it. What's going on?
No,
Why
I understand.
why can't you just improve what we have? Well, we've got study rooms that due to the humidity that we had this summer, we're scraping the paint off because our HVAC system is piecemeal. So that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I mean, there is that picture worth 1,000 words kind of thing.
Something to talk about at the
Right.
facility and the site.
Thank you, Aaron.
Any other?
So
points or
we'll start
questions?
we'll start with the meeting. We'll put our thoughts down. And that would be step one. Well, we already have several steps in place because we have been, we have preliminary plans. And then work on the things. I like the idea of the board, for instance, giving tours of the library, not just the staff. That's too much of a burden. But that's something that could all be worked out as part of this expansion plan. So we have to sit down and make a plan. And, people have to know that we're going to give tours. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but they would be advertised in the library and through the normal channel. So there's a lot of discussion to be had. And again, I'm hopeful that we can establish a good relationship with the new mayor and new council members, and the 3 remaining council members, or not 3, how many? They know us and we know them. So I think it's going to be interesting and exciting, and it'll be interesting to see how the new council and the town manager, can react to a plan, our expansion plan. So I will send an email out. We'll get that meeting in order. It's going to have to be after Thanksgiving so I can see where I'm going.
Gee, Maureen, I hope you can see the turkey.
Oh, I'll
Potatoes
I'll
and
smell it.
soup.
At least I don't have to entertain. I don't know, for any of you who wear glasses or contact lenses, I've been, poor sighted since I was in 2nd grade. And if I can't see, I can't hear either. And everything else just goes askew. So I can't wait for the second surgery because the first one was like a miracle. I have 20/30 vision in what used to be a very myopic eye. So
Great.
hopefully I'll just be good to go next.
Well, good luck to you on that second surgery.
Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately, my second surgery isn't until a couple of days before Thanksgiving. So
Well, then you'll certainly be able to see the
I
turkey.
will be able to. I might even be able to drive myself to the festivities. We'll see. Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay, so you'll all be hearing from me.
Super, thank you, Maureen. Fund development, Anna.
Thank you. So Fiona and I, have worked with Lisa, via Zoom calls, on that ways to give brochure, and we pretty much, we've signed off on it. We made some changes, not significant graphic changes, and we tweaked a few comments here and there, but we signed off on it, so that's all in hand. I've also updated one of the things we said we were gonna do was take the legacy flyers that we've had and blow them up. And so I, took the ones that we did and I updated them, put the QR codes on them, sent those to Lisa, so, you know. So we
We'll get the
should
blessing.
have them for November 6th. But meanwhile, I'm gonna borrow them ahead of time because, one of the other things I've done since the last meeting is I sent out the transition letters to all the 5K sponsors to let them know that Fiona's gonna be taking the lead in that. And I spoke with Dave Johnson, who does Geico, but he's also very active in Rotary. So I got an invitation to be the speaker at Rotary at the end of November. So I hopefully the posters will be ready and I can borrow them to show and tell.
I'm making a note.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'd be great. And maybe we could, you know, print out like 24 of the brochures, even though they're not, we can do them in-house and not necessarily,
Yeah.
we don't have them from the printer yet. So that would be great. So let's see. So I did that, I did this. In the process of making some of those phone calls or those letters, I did call M&T Bank just to get a feel, and the branch manager did say it was a one-time thing. So I told him what was going on with the Lucy's Capital Council, and he provided me a link to go to the M&T Bank Foundation. And I'm in the process of putting an application in for the Capital Council, unless you want something else. No, okay, so that's where I'm doing that, no guarantees. Working on, setting up the domain name for Lucy Robbins Wells Library, that newingtonctlibrary.org, and, working with TechSoup, you know, they don't make it easy because like at each step you have to go through a validation process. You have to confirm this, confirm that. I mean, they want to make sure that you're truly a nonprofit. So to get the, you know, $1 a month, you know, email account through Microsoft, I have to do a Microsoft application but it's in progress. We should get it all, you know, before December 6th or whatever date we have in mind. So that's in progress.
Oh, did you want to add about the domain? Remember you they said,
Oh, yes, and so when I, this is interesting, I mean, because at the last meeting, you know, Andy had made a point about buying the other domain names to prevent, you know, so other people wouldn't use it. But when I spoke to the folks at TechSoup, they said, that's not really realistic. What if I buy the domain names, it prevents somebody from building a website with that name. But they can create any email address. I don't know enough about it, but they can generate an email address without owning a URL domain. So I don't know if we want to go through that expense of buying up all these other domain names to stop somebody from building a website. We're not even gonna have a web page. We're just using it to, you know.
Give you a
to
quote?
use- Huh?
Did he give you a quote if you were to buy all of them?
No, they didn't. That's the other thing. So, so they're on Pacific time and some reason, my brain does not function when I read, you can only call between 11 and 4 Pacific time. And it seems, you know, every time I call, it's like, and I tried this afternoon, I think I called like at 4 o'clock and it's like, you know, this the help desk is closed now today, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm backing up time, it's earlier there, this does not compute in my brain. So, so I really don't know. Yeah, so the domain, I bought the domain for $9.89 for the year, which is, they said, and I added the $3 to keep it private, so Lisa won't get inundated with solicitations on that domain name. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that with Legacy and promoting the Legacy, yes, we're doing it December 2nd at the Hanel event. But I also think, I'm taking this cue from the Friends. Winter reading program is January 31st from 10 to 7. And the Friends always have a presence there. And I think that the trustees should have a presence there as well. Maybe we could do a couple of hour shifts or something and, have a table with the Legacy stuff and whatever else we want, maybe have something about possible expansion. It's, we need to be more visible, especially with our plans for the future. So it's still early, but I will be asking in January for people to sign up a little bit, take some coverage.
Next question. I wasn't at the October meeting, but there were a couple of motions made. One was the $600 for buying up the domain name.
Yeah,
There was another one for the $500, which was mainly for the brochures on the list.
yeah.
You mentioned something about posters. Is that out of the 500 or is that separate or is it?
That's separate. That's different.
It's separate cost.
Yeah,
I would
I don't
assume
know. I don't know.
private.
Is that printed in? You don't know.
I think I don't think it's in-house.
It's not
For
in-house,
the
it's
poster
out.
that's gotta go out of house.
Yeah.
So I'm, all right, that's all right. I wanted
So
to
we
make
don't
sure I
have the
wasn't
money.
utilizing it for.
Yeah, I don't know what they cost.
Yeah, I don't know
Sorry.
much about it, but I'll.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure I attribute it to the right thing. So
Yeah.
if we're, we can.
So if we haven't identified or approved monies for that, then we should make a motion. Any idea of the poster cost or?
Let's make a motion to approve $100 for the,
For some reason,
Printing and-
300 comes to mind for
How much?
past activities, $300, but I don't know how many, I think it was when we made big posters for, the 25th race. I think they were $300 for some reason,
That sounds,
about
that
right.
sounds like a lot of money.
Well, it's, you're,
I don't think, we're not going supersize that's what's out there for Winterfest.
those were the size I was thinking. you were
No,
talking
no, no,
about.
we're not going that big.
Okay.
We're not going that big. We're doing something that can be put on easels.
Well, I would say if you give yourself not to exceed and you
Yeah,
spend
All right,
100
so
and
let's,
fine.
so let's,
Not to exceed. is
not to
something,
exceed $300 for the printing of posters. I mean, what I would like to see is a poster with a backing, like a styrofoam backing.
That's where the cost comes into play.
You think that's enough?
I think 300 will get you and then. I
And
mean,
what's
if-
going on the poster?
The flyers, the legacy flyers that were used as inserts. That
Which one, how many?
we're just making one copy of each for display.
So 3 posters.
No, there's like 6 pages altogether.
So that's what I'm trying to quantify.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think if you go with not to exceed 300, that should do it, that one of the printing.
I was leaving it to Lisa to decide, what she thought would be good for visibility within the library.
Okay. So,
So there's 6 pages, there's like 6 pages.
so there would be 6 posters on some kind of freestanding foam
Yeah.
board or something like that that would go on. So 6 pages,
6 flyers printed on styrofoam or glued to
and they're
styrofoam.
11 by 17 or
20 by 24? No, 11 by 17 is not big enough, they've gotta be bigger. 20 by 24. Jen, do you have any? No? Okay.
I can make you flyers here, picture
I think it's 20 by 24, there's, maybe it's 36 by, I don't know.
I think there's probably a standard size.
Yeah.
I can definitely get more information from Lisa.
Okay.
I think she
Okay, well, I just,
You're trying to do this before your meeting, you should have authorization to be able to.
right,
To do it.
the next meeting, you need these posters before the next meeting. So,
Yeah, we need them, we need them for December 2nd. Literally.
right, so that's why I'm trying to put some words around the not to exceed, no.
I'll make a motion not to exceed $300 for the production of the legacy posters.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
And
Aye.
if it blows up, make a phone call, Karen,
Okay.
if if it's something really outrageous, but I think that will do it based on past experience.
Any opposed? None? All right, motion carries, thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you, everybody.
Just a thing on the side, Karen, you sent me something about Hanel, that was 1998. I think you had sent me a request, do I know when Hanel started?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, I'm sorry, I thought you were saying I put it as 1998, I'm like, I did?
No, that's when Hanel.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
19
right. Yeah, Marie was president.
1998, so
The George G. Hanel.
2018, so 25, so for 25 years? Or more than, no, 25 exactly, right? Would that?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
When you want to do math with the treasurer.
Put that on your fingers.
That's what I always did.
And I don't know that we have to say 2 times a year or whatever, we could just say, 25 years ago, the Hanel.
Because we actually had.
You're saying about the bequest?
Yeah.
The request was created to allow, I actually took that from the website. But you don't wanna put that in the press release?
I don't think we have to go to that much detail.
Okay.
Just let them know it's there for cultural.
The request was created to allow no fewer than 2 programs, so delete that whole dedicated to the
Yeah.
arts, and which will be, actually, we wanna include free of admission, right?
Yes.
Free of- yeah. Okay. Or we could just say, this is free to the public, maybe instead, this is free to the public? Or do you want to keep free of admission charges to the public?
Free to the public, but requires, registration,
Yeah.
because we have limited attendance, right?
So that was my other question about registration. Where are they registering? Where can they register? Can they call? Is there anything on the website for them to register, or they have to call or come in?
They would be able to register online as well.
I didn't see that link somewhere, okay.
I'll double check.
Oh, they would have to go through the events calendar,
Yes.
okay. All right, let me, add that, okay. And they register on the night of, no, they have to register ahead of time?
It really kind of depends on where the numbers are.
max.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like getting tickets for the Winterfest, you better get them now.
Right. Really want to go, buy early, right? You kind of, sort of. We went through facility and site, we went through, fund development. It's giving nominations, Maureen, you're on that, but this is not the time of year for that.
Right, not until,
Into communications
Fall.
with Christine and Fiona.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying, it's kind of like what we're doing.
yes, so the Hanel, press release finalizing, and I will start sending that out. Should I have Lisa look it over once before? Yes,
Yeah.
okay, So I'll make the
Nothing goes
changes.
to the public without it being run by either
That's right.
Lisa or Karen,
Okay.
in case we put our foot in our mouths. Right,
So I'll update this with the notes from tonight and then resend it tomorrow to Lisa to have her take a look at.
so Karen, is Lisa in tomorrow?
She's not. Can
You wanna send it to
all
you?
of us? Yeah.
Oh, to both,
Yeah,
okay, sure.
thank you.
And that's all I have for communications.
Questions? Yeah, good. Next, old business, Hanel, so Saturday, December 2nd. Is our Hanel concert, I was talking with Lisa, the folks that are coming in for Hanel had asked if we were back to doing like cookies and I'm gonna say punch, but cider or whatever for those events. And we were thinking that we could certainly go back to that. She was gonna reach out to high school students that are looking for hours and stuff and have them come, not only to help with some of the setup and cleanup, but maybe
I think now we can hand, like with tongs, gloves and a mask, we could hand cookies out, whereas before, you could just put the cookies out on a platter and people could come through and grab a couple, so.
And when we just pre-bag the cookies. A bag thing wasn't bad.
If they were packaged, the packaged
Yeah.
cookies you mean
Yeah.
instead of,
Or, I mean, you can just get the wax bag. just,
Yeah,
You know, buy cookies in bulk and in advance, put them in.
Or,
Wax
or
bags.
little cellophane bags, with
Yeah,
like little
yeah.
ribbon on it.
yeah, and you can leave it somewhere in a basket and people can just take it out instead of having to hand it.
We have done that. We've done it for the reading programs.
okay. So I guess we'll look at the count, we'll look what's happening, because we were hoping that the, student volunteers could help with that.
Okay.
If not, then we need to have a stronger presence earlier in the day. To bag the cookies.
Well, it could be bagged people during the week. You don't have to wait until the day of.
You can come in at any time and bag the cookies, yes. You meaning the board. So,
Or the student volunteers, the kids, the students, if they need hours, they can do it after school.
okay, so, that would be the food and drink would be a Hingham expense, and it would go off to that. And I'm sorry, I should have grabbed one of the flyers again. What time does the concert actually start?
7 p.m.
Thank you.
I actually noted, sorry, I did note that the doors open at 6:30. Even though that wasn't on the website, is that okay to say in the press release?
Yes.
Okay, I just took it from the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the doors open at 6:30, which means, by 6:30, all of that movable furniture in the center has to be
set up.
pushed out and all the chairs have to be set up. Again, board and student assistants to do all of that. And then we normally have one or two trustees handing out the flyers and, thank you for coming.
Wear your tag.
Oh, yeah.
I don't
Thank you,
have it.
Christie. Wear your tag.
my back into the.
We have a big
missed
push to
that
make sure that
conversation last
board
time.
members are wearing their badges so that they are known. So if we can have that bag out, because very few of us have taken them home. Anyone who's taken them home, bring them back in.
And some of us don't have,
Yeah, I don't have one either. Cause I was.
There's an error.
It's a lanyard.
They all say the same
It's a lanyard. It doesn't have your name. It just says, board of trustee or trustee on it. Who's
Okay.
rep as
Then
well
you
as
can
trustee.
slide the name.
and we get them from, is there,
So we'll have them, probably in the office or some general area. We have a box of them. And then, we want people to take them and keep them.
Yes, because you're adults, you should be able to have it in your purse or your car.
Yeah.
And put it on when you come in. How hard is
So. We should take our
it?
time.
Where is it? Would you like?
There you go. So that's it. So we're now changing our thought process and trustees will get their own badges and then.
We have to be grown-ups.
You don't need to wear them to a board meeting, but the 5K race, the Hanel events, anything that we're doing as a group organization and we want people to realize, that it's a good. If we had a legacy society meeting and invited the general public, stuff like that, we would want to have those, vendors on.
When we invite the new town council over.
Yeah.
Right.
What time should we get there for, for sports?
5 o'clock, right?
That'd be wonderful.
Have fun.
Right, okay. That's for all that heavy duty lifting. Pushing, shoving.
Well, I'd rather be ready, 10 minutes early than be holding them outside going, okay, yep, right, just excuse me, let me get that second. That's right, bunch of cookies, as that goes through. Okay, open board positions, believe it or not, we still have the Republican Board Commission. I know that we're doing all the paperwork to get everybody.
I switched, so.
Yeah, you switched, so we have two.
Oh, I
Republican
did talk to the current deputy mayor on election day, and she is still aware of the problem. She has been talking to people, and what I told her to do is give her my phone number and have anyone that's interested call me so I can tell them. There's
How much they want to use for it.
welcoming and the whole thing. So I mean, we are still working on it. I'm still talking to the people of the other persuasion. And
What are we missing? in terms of the makeup?
We are missing,
Three Republican-
Democratic and now Republican. Cause we don't have the Dems isn't full now.
Right, the Dem-
Cause you're going to.
Well, it will be.
It will be. It will be.
Well, I already switched,
You
but
switched.
it's not.
That's to be official.
Supposedly.
So you will be the Dem,
Representative, yes,
so the Dems will be full,
full,
and we're missing three.
three Republicans. And I have been groveling, I have been doing everything short of crawling down and, because I know that's not gonna work.
I don't mean to be stupid, but. Because I'm registered for, but I'm more of a, let's just do something for the town. The Republicans could nominate a Democrat, correct?
Correct. They could.
Well, we've had trouble when we've gone down that path before.
It's harder, it is harder. We have done it, for the health board. We have a Democrat on the health board that's been assigned, by the Republicans. It doesn't happen too often, but it's.
You would
because
just think that, we have positions, we have 3 and 3, so that there's equal representation as it goes back into the different parties. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
I'm trying, I'm doing my best.
And I
Well,
appreciate.
we have addressed our quorum issues, so that's good. At least we're set. We're not held up by the fact that they haven't put 3 bodies in
Right.
by percentage now. So
That's very good thinking, Madam Treasurer.
that's another numbers thing again.
All right, Diane, do you want me to sit, I don't know if this is new business or in relation to open board positions, where I need to be like brought back in as a corporate trustee.
I think we voted you in as a corporate trustee when we were
We
voting these guys
No,
out.
I didn't.
We didn't?
I don't think so.
No,
You guys weren't here yet.
No, I was here for.
Yeah, they were both here.
That's right.
That was last meeting. Did we do that?
Yeah.
No, we didn't,
No.
because then I said I hadn't submitted the letter, and I did submit the letter.
and it got approved. It would
Yes,
be
James
by-
approved, well, it hasn't been
November
approved by the
28th.
council
Yeah,
yet,
November 28th by the council.
but I have,
No, the council doesn't have anything to do with her corporate position.
no, but can I be brought in as a corporate before I'm officially resigned per the council as a town?
We've actually officially resigned. when
You
she sent
resigned
that
when you
letter.
I mean, I guess I did, yeah, it was
I mean,
last Tuesday,
You know, say
So
you
then I
moved
guess-
to Wisconsin,
right?
right?
Okay.
Don't think about it.
So so the approval for that is just, okay, don't think about moving to Wisconsin.
Right, you get to Wisconsin.
So,
So, you know, you would resign and go, and you wouldn't be saying, you know, movers, don't take my stuff, because I have one more meeting, right?
right.
So
I hear
you
you.
just go,
Okay.
so that's what
So
it
we
is.
can
So,
do it.
do we have a motion on the table to officially accept Fiona's move into the corporate position?
Oh, I so moved.
Sure.
Because she's so moved, she gets the first.
I second it.
Iris seconds it. Any
She
further
saved my
discussion?
bacon. She can do whatever. I did what? She saved my bacon.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Hi,
Your
Opposed?
bacon.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you,
and
thank you, thank you.
And thank you for saving bacon. We appreciate that. Okay, this is, yes,
So we need to talk about Hanel for 2024. I don't know if you want to do it on the current, the previous discussion on Hanel or under new business.
either way,
So I go.
you wanna open up for Hanel? Open up for Hanel.
So Diane, Maureen and I are the Hanel committee and, two things that we need to, a couple of things that we need to figure out is, what are the potentially good target dates for the staff to have the Hanel concert in 2024, because that kind of drives everything. All right. I mean, I would guess that we could, you know, shoot for another one in December. Maybe, you know, going forward, maybe we, you know, kind of have an informal policy, but we'll just do a Christmas concert in the first week of the first Saturday in December every year. You know, if we start early enough, and then it's, you know, when do we do the other one? So that's up to you guys.
And we need to work around, Anita's program. They're gonna do it.
Yeah, Anita's program, the
Well, that's what we mean by
Winterfest,
the
the 5K
staff,
race,
the library staff, what's going on in the library.
the reading program, so that's what it's, staff needs to tell us what's good for them.
When the library is free. Available.
Yeah. And so, I sent out an email that, you know, I get emails from other organizations all the time, and I had kind of put my eyes on the Florence Griswold Museum. They had a nice concert series over the summer, and I said, well, why reinvent the wheel? And so we looked at that a little bit. But Maureen and I had a conversation earlier today, and one of the things that happened when the pandemic shut us all down, we had someone from the Lenox, Mass area. Her name is Wanda Houston, and she's a bluesy jazz singer. And she was, I mean, Karen was working with her to get the contract, and then everything stopped. We checked the website today. She's active again. She's doing a lot of small venues, like up in, Maureen, do you remember Litchfield?
Yeah,
Kent?
she's mostly in Litchfield County. She resides up in that area. But
Yeah.
her website talks about being a performer mostly in New England.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw her in they call it, I think, the Lions Den, up at the Red Lion Inn up in Stockbridge. And it was a nice little venue, and she was wonderful. I mean, she'll knock your socks off. She was also one of the headliners this past summer for the Jazz Fest in Hartford.
Oh, wow.
But if she's playing all these other little small venues, I mean, she can't be charging a whole lot. I mean, you know, exorbitant, you know.
no, and
Um,
her venues include libraries, churches, they're not concert halls.
Yeah,
And I guess she has 3 different groups of musicians that work with her. So she might just have one accompanist, or she might have she has a trio. So it depends, it's diverse. But I went on her site today and listened to her and saw her and was just so impressed, not just with her talent, but her personality. And I think personality is so important, because you can have a beautiful voice and fall flat on your face, so.
yeah, she's very engaging with her audience. Wanda
Because I
Houston.
remember
Houston,
Wanda
up in Texas.
Houston,
looking at her.
as in
her site.
Texas.
Yeah.
I suggested to Anna, I was so impressed that we put her on the top of the list. If we can engage
I
her.
think it's worthwhile. And particularly since we pretty much had an agreement in place and then it all fell apart, I would like to leave a good taste in her mouth as well as ours on it as well.
Yeah,
So-
and I think, her personal life is cleared up. I mean, her website, there was something on her website, I guess. Karen had a little bit of difficulty reaching her when all of that, but I think everybody was in panic mode when COVID first came out. So, sounds like her personal life is kind of, squared away, and she's performing on a regular basis again. So I think this is a good time to reach out. And so it would just be working with what her availability is based on, and our availability.
Trying to line it up.
Yeah.
And she has
the
quite a
other-
diverse background. She's been on Broadway. She's worked with Barbara Streisand. I mean, she's been around the block professionally. And I thought it was this little blurb that I heard that she was talking about when she was a younger woman, and before she was still in high school. I think her mom was involved in like church choirs, and her dad had a different profession. And her mother appreciated the fact that she wanted to be a professional musician, but she said, you have to have something to fall back on. So she went to college, and she was a chemistry major. Talk about opposite ends of the spectrum. But she said she always liked science and math, so.
The math and science, math and power.
So,
Yeah.
Math and music.
so if everybody feels that there's a good vibe and we should go in that direction, we will continue in that direction.
I had one other thought, and again, it's just going back a few years, I've been around here too long. We've done authors in the past. Is that something we're thinking about doing?
We didn't come up with authors.
No, we didn't.
Diane is leaning to like a hands-on kind of thing. But,
As long as it goes under the heading of a cultural event, we can entertain it.
well, Maureen, what were you saying about the hands-on stuff?
My opinion about Hanel is that it should be more entertainment oriented. I mean, the only hands-on, we had one during our 80th. Is that when we did the little bookmaking?
Making, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
and
did
it was all
81,
very
yeah.
interesting, and this is just my personal opinion. When I go out for the evening, I don't want to work. I want
And,
to sit and be entertained.
yeah, and a lot of the regular programming.
Right,
is
we do
hands-on.
that anyway. There's so many adult and children's programming that are hands-on, for creating things. So that's
The
just my
reinvention.
opinion. I prefer some kind of entertainment and
I don't feel strong enough to fight for anything, so I like the Wanda Houston idea, I like,
I have
you
an
know, all
idea
sorts
for
of-
another Christmas concert for next year. And
for it, keep going.
there was a group called Hartford City Singers, and they were one of the groups that I started talking to when we did the 80th anniversary. And for the new members on the board, we were very ambitious on that anniversary.
We were downright crazy.
we had 8 functions.
8 years, we had 8 performers, one for each decade. And so there was something going on like almost every month. It was crazy. But we had some great entertainers. And I mean, and some of them I would be very willing to bring back, and Larry Garreau was one of them. He's, but Hartford City Singers, they put on different holiday events. And some of them are church related. So I think what was the church? A church in Manchester or something, Congregational Church in Manchester is having them. But I bet we could, they've done if you look on their website, they've done others. It's a group of 20 singers.
I think they tailor their program to the venue. So if they're doing, for instance, they're going to do one of the churches for Christmas, they're going to have sacred music and, something that is specific to that, to a church, for instance. And I'm sure they'll have regular Christmas carols and stuff. Excuse me, but in a venue like ours, which is totally secular, I'm sure they have a repertoire that's speaks to that.
And they might only bring 5 people instead of 20 people.
Yeah, or maybe 10, I don't know. But now would be the time to talk to them for next December.
Right. So my recommendation is that we see if Wanda is available right off the bat. And if she, after we have to find out from Karen when the library is available. I know there's so many things going on with the winter kickoff, the reading programs and stuff.
So
But
let's make some motions and get this going, because I got some stuff that I still have to talk about, so.
Do we need a motion?
I don't know. No.
Fine.
You're gonna research it, investigate it.
Yeah, but we just wanted to make sure that we're going in the right direction.
So I go in the direction of the CT improv even.
Was what?
CT improv. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable in saying that early December usually works well. And I know Lisa's on board with that. Anything other
So it's that other date, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, in early December, even though it is kind of holiday time, it doesn't mean that it has to be a holiday program. I mean, it's nice and it's a free venue, so if
Yeah.
somebody wants to get out and be in the spirit, that's nice. But we don't have to, just because
True.
it's the first week of December, doesn't mean it has to be a holiday program. So whatever you come up with.
All right. We've got some direction, I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. All right, so next is the new business, our January 2024 meeting. I'm very sad to say that Elizabeth can't make that day.
Uh-oh.
I'm even sadder to say that the following Monday, which is what I was hoping for, is Martin Luther King Day when the library is closed.
No.
So for our January meeting, we would need a secretary.
Well, we've done that in the past.
I'm sorry,
Didn't,
what?
I'm sure there were occasions when Gail wasn't available and we had somebody come in and do minutes.
Her daughter. Her
Maybe
daughter
Gail
used to
will come and do it.
Can we go to January 22nd?
I don't know, I didn't, what is it?
It's just the Monday after
It's the Monday after the,
Winterfest?
Winterfest. So this is, and we can decide maybe, in our next meeting. But, what I have found out, what I have seen for myself, is that these meetings are recorded. They do go out on the YouTube, Newington, Connecticut YouTube, and there is a transcript service. I don't think we can rely on that 100%, but if somebody were to scribble notes during the meeting, and then we compared it with the transcript, to see whatever, maybe we could put something together. Or maybe if you were available on the 20th, we could postpone our meeting. When did you come back? I wasn't sure when you came back.
January 20th is a Saturday.
Okay, so that's.
22nd.
22nd is, I don't think we should put a meeting off that long.
She's on vacation.
But
Okay. Are
She
you back
doesn't
on,
want
are
to
you back
come
on
by
the
No, I'm going 16th. I have another meeting actually on the 16th, but I can do the 17th.
What is this?
It's a
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So we've got some issues, so nobody here is feeling comfortable taking notes. You're doing it. How do you be able to read them? I don't know. I could even call Gail and see if she wanted to come in to try and take, she might drive all the way in for, yeah, for one thing. She might not. So that's the thought. We've got to figure out.
Let me ask about taking notes. If I took the notes between my notes and the video, can Elizabeth put the minutes together or?
I'll put them together if you give me the notes and the other things. I can't take it because you can't really run the meeting
Yeah,
and
I
take the notes.
understand.
That's
I
just too
understand.
crazy.
We'd have to multitask.
Wait a minute, so you're, hold on, you're saying there's a transcription through the YouTube, but also isn't there a Zoom isn't there a way to transcribe through Zoom too?
Yeah, but you don't.
No,
Not really.
It's too much.
it's too much to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
With the recording as it goes through that.
All right,
So
so.
we will-
When
when's our
Gail,
meeting? The 8th?
Gail used to actually have a tape recorder with her. So she had her own backup. Maybe we could do something like that and then have the
Elizabeth has backup,
transcription.
right? Yeah, at least Elizabeth's backing up. I'll do the notes.
And can
As
we
long as-
record it also? So there's,
Well, they're recorded anyway.
It's recorded.
I understand that. But have any of you ever, I used to transcribe notes from Zoom and it's kind of disjointed sometimes. Their audio, their record. Yeah, I'll make a decision. Just a suggestion.
I'll do the notes. I'll type them up and then I'll send them to you and you can tweak them.
You're comfortable doing that, and then we keep the same date in January.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the date in January?
January 8th.
A regular meeting date.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate that. The Winterfest donation.
Do you have a template, Elizabeth, or do you just?
Yeah.
use
Yeah,
it?
do you want me to email you the template?
That would be great.
Yeah.
And maybe the roll call. So we did the Winterfest donations. Public participation, do I see anybody on public participation? No? Okay. Then I think that's it. No one else has question or
The
comment?
only thing I'd mention is that please enjoy the artwork that's around. That's my art exhibit for November is all my artwork hanging up around the walls here. That's the only thing.
All right, and a person,
Wow.
as we're mentioning personal things, I am. What date is it? Oh, hold on. Hold on, I am the. Friend and I, we published a book and I'm doing the story time on December 5th at 6 o'clock in the children's department.
On the family story time,
Yeah,
this Thursday?
no, December 6th.
Oh, December sixth, okay.
Yeah, so
December sixth at 6 or December 5th at 6?
December 5th, yeah, it's Tuesday, December 5 at 6 o'clock.
Oh, Tuesday, December
Yes,
sixth, okay.
yeah, and the book is called Blomometer Rising, A Magical Christmas Story.
Oh, how nice. Congratulations. That's nice. Congratulations to you for having this. We did, check it out on Saturday when you were here earlier.
Are you doing signed copies for the library?
I am.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, anything else? No, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved, it's Maureen.
Second.
Pick your favorites.
Anna and Fiona, I got.
Anna and Fiona. Oh, you've got to be louder from the TV, Maureen. Okay, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. You'll all appreciate this. I was really sure we would